Alright everybody, so today I'm going to be working on actually lifting the body up off of the subframes. We're going to go ahead and pull the front subframe and set it up on our workbench and come up with our jig to figure out where the upper control arm and the shock is going to mount off of our frame stubs. And then we've got the oil pickup tube and an oil dipstick, a couple things to throw into the motor as well, crankshaft pulley. So we'll get that taken care of as well. Probably pull off the front cover so we can weld on a AN fitting for the turbo drain. And last couple of days I've been working on pulling apart this side of the rear suspension because the the car that I got this drivetrain from, it was slid into a curb and it broke the spindle, not this one, this is the replacement, but it broke the one that was on there completely in half, and I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. Because I have it sitting right here. You can see the carnage. And it also bent the rear tie rod there. So that's the only real damage I've found so far. And I was going to go ahead and reassemble it, but I realized that I have to make a jig for the upper control arm on the rear subframe as well. So I went ahead and just left it all taken apart. I have a frame rail section coming, just like I have for the front, which is giving us our location of the control arm on a Corvette. And we're just going to use angle iron to roughly make up a jig of where it mounts. And then we'll worry about the exact positioning of the body and connecting the frame stubs to the frame for the floor pan. So let's get started. All right, so I was trying to install the pickup tube for the oil pump, and one thing that I'm having an issue with right out the gate is that the bracket that attaches it to the windage tray is interfering with the windage tray. It's not sitting flush like it should, and that's causing the bolt hole to not line up here on the oil pump. And I believe the reason why is because this windage tray is for a Camaro, and it's notched out over here for where I think the Camaro pickup tube was. I'm not 100% sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to have to pull the windage tray off and modify this area here, notch it out like this so that it'll be able to sit down in there uninhibited. Alright, so I really don't want to have to cut it, because if I do, that means I'm going to have to wash it to try and get like all of the little metal shavings off. So what I've started to do is take a hammer and like a punch, and I'm just kind of like massaging the areas that are interfering, and we're almost there. So I'm just going to keep at it, and hopefully we've got enough room to make it happen. All right, so it was successful, just denting it in a little bit, and I went ahead and rotated the crankshaft. It doesn't interfere at all, so we're good to go. And now I'm sitting here wondering, where should I put my 10 AN bung for my turbo oil drain, because I'm still not 100% sure where the turbo is going to sit. So if I was going to mount it up front, like in the headlight position, I think the best place to put the drain would be on the front timing cover. There's space for it, and a lot of people do it that way. But if I'm going to mount the turbo at the back of the motor in front of the cowl, I should probably put the drain in the oil pan towards the rear of the car. So I'm Not 100% sure what I'm gonna do about that yet. I might just have to do them both and then cap one of them off. I don't know yet. All right, well, a couple roadblocks. Went and checked my supplies. I don't have any weld-on AN bungs. I do have a coupler and an AN to an NPT fitting, which I could cut up and turn into bungs. In fact, I probably will, because I don't want to sit here with the engine open for a week while I'm waiting for a couple of bungs to come in. And the second issue is I threw the oil pan on here because I realized that the starter is kind of going to be in the way of mounting a bung on this side, because we can't mount it high enough to keep it above the oil level. So that would mean we're going to have to put it almost halfway towards the front of the engine just to clear the starter. And on the other side, it's the oil filter, of course, you know. We could put it above the oil drain, maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm gonna ponder it a little while and get back to you. All right, I went ahead and decided on a location, and it was right above the drain plug, like we initially were talking about doing. There you can see it's all done, and hopefully it doesn't leak. All right, so I've gotten as far as I can on the motor really for now. Need some hardware for a couple things, so we'll get back on that later. But what we're gonna work on now is getting this subframe upper control arm mounts made. And this is how we're gonna do it. I have a front frame section off of a C5 Corvette. I've bolted it into our subframe. It's basically, I'm gonna take some angle iron, drill out the holes for where these upper mounts are, lay them across. Take some angle iron down here, drill out a hole for the size of this bolt, clamp it to the outside edges, and then just connect the two. Okay, so as you can see, I have my two pieces here, got the holes drilled through them, got them clamped in, and now I've got two pieces of scrap metal that I've cut here and made sure that they're nice and flat on one side. And what I'm gonna do, butt it up against the control arm mount right here, and we're just gonna weld it on, and that's gonna be our stopping plate, so we know exactly, every time we put it in here, it's gonna sit exactly where it needs to be. And there's also a machine surface, let me see if I can show you. There's a machine surface right here that I have these angle iron pieces sitting on perfectly flat. So we've got both of our axes good to go. Let's just get these pieces tacked on here, and we'll be moving right along. All right, we got the plates tacked on there. And our next step is gonna be, now we're gonna make the plates that bolt onto these faces right here. And then all we have to do is connect them with pieces of scrap. Really simple. So let's get this thing done. You know, I've been doing this for a while now, and one thing that I'm noticing that I always find is kind of funny is that the spacing between a lot of the mounting holes for stuff on cars is never like a nice round number, you know? It's never like 4 inches, it's always like 4 5/16 or something stupid like that. Like right now, the distance between the holes for these upper control arm mounts, we're looking at, it's like 4 3/8. Maybe. We're gonna have to double check that. It might be in between 3/8 and 1/2 inch. Here it is. It's literally as simple as this. I'm gonna go ahead and get our braces welded to the other parts, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna be able to take it off. We're probably gonna have to cut the shock tower a little bit, but that's okay. This piece was a sacrifice anyways. Okay, so here's my basic jig. I went ahead and added some cross bracing to stabilize it as best I can. And now what we gotta do is bust off of this frame rail and reinstall our frame rails and start mocking up where the plate needs to go. All right, so here's our new frame section mounted to the subframe with our jig for the control arm mount. Now, Some of you were probably wondering, okay, that's cool, you have one for the driver's side, but what are you gonna do for the passenger side? Obviously I don't have another frame rail, but what I am planning to do is when I make the plate for this side, I'm gonna make exactly the same plate for the other side, just bend the tabs the plate is gonna go like this and then run along the frame rail and then come back again. So I'm gonna cut the plates exactly the same, and I'm just gonna flip the second one around so that, and basically take a measurement from the subframe mounting point, and it should put us right in the ballpark on both sides. Unfortunately, I don't have any 3/16 plate to continue on today, so I'm gonna take a break and I'll catch you guys later.